Hello everyone, and thank you so much for returning to watch another video, a follow-up to this X-H1 Flaw video that I put up that I think might be just specific to me and a very few select other people. So I want to say maybe right off the bat that if you're on the fence about getting an X-H1 or moving from a certain brand over to Fuji or whatever, then don't hesitate. Fuji cameras are great. I love Fuji cameras. I really love my X-H1, so please do not worry. I'm not affiliated with anybody. I'm my own person. I can say whatever I want. Just take that, as my word. I'm doing this a lot. I don't know why. Okay. This really is a follow-up to the last one. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the wonderful comments and really top tips and suggestions. And also to some people who got directly in touch either by email or through maybe a direct message on Instagram or any kind of way that you can find people these days. You guys seem to have done it, so I really do appreciate it. And everybody's been really lovely, so thank you so much. I do appreciate it. This video is kind of really to just address some of those questions and suggestions that have been sent in my direction, either regarding the batteries or the memory cards that I'm using. So it's really just to kind of follow up with those items. So the first thing is, some people are asking, what memory cards am I actually using? And I should have maybe explained that a little bit more in the previous video. So I am using, and I have always used, well, for the last several years anyway, is Sandisk Extreme Pro cards. Okay, so excuse me, this is the 95 meg per second Sandisk Extreme Pro 64 gig. I have no idea if that's focusing, no idea whatsoever. I should get one of those big screens on top of the camera, but yeah, it's got 64 gig, 95 meg per second, and I have used these cards on pretty much every other Fuji camera that I've ever owned, and I've never had a problem. Never had a problem with any. Actually, to be honest, I've never really had a problem with any memory cards. It's not that I can remember. So these cards have been great. I've never had a dodgy one. I know a lot of people say, oh, you can get like rip-off Sandisk cards, and that may well be the case, but I've been very lucky. Delighted to say. And then recently, just after I updated the firmware to firmware 1.01, I had been on Amazon and I had purchased two 128 gig cards. So yeah, that's one of those. The other one is in the camera recording this video in 4K. Just bear that in mind, 4K. Recording on a UHS Type 1 card, okay, at 95 megs per second. That is kind of important because a few people actually have suggested that I'm using the wrong cards, that I'm using cards that are too slow and I need to have 300 meg per second cards or UHS Type 2 cards at least. So I went on to, just typed into Google, the Fujifilm supported memory cards, and it brings you to a page on Fuji's website, which I'll put in the link below in the description. And on this chart, it has all of the Fuji models down the side, and then on this page is all UHS Type 1 cards and if they are supported or not, and the sizes that are supported, ranging from 512 megabytes, that goes back a long way, up to 512 gigabytes. Okay. And yes or no. On this page, it's UHS Type 2 cards, okay? So we'll start with UHS Type 1 cards because that's my cards. That's the ones that I'm using. So, and these are the cards that people say are not supported. Some people say are not supported. So if I go down to X-H1 and go across to 64 gig and 128 gig cards, which are these two cards on my desk, are they supported? Yes. There we go, that solves that problem. Then there's three little asterisks, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, special notes to mention. 5. Use a memory card with a class 10 write speed 10 megs per second, or better when shooting HD movie. They are faster than 10 megs per second. Use a memory card with a class 3 write speed or better when shooting a 4K movie. These are, I think, class 3. Is class 3 faster than class 10? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, these have a 3 on them. They have a little 3 on them. I don't know if that's ever going to be seen, but it has a little 3 on it, so I imagine that must mean class 3. But either way, I'm recording 4K on essentially that card, if that makes sense. Same card on that camera. And the last part is compatible with UHS Type 2 cards. Performance of memory cards below have been confirmed. So you can go down to, your X-H1. Then you have the various different manufacturers, Toshiba, Sandisk, Sony, and Lexar are all mentioned here. What series, so Extreme Pro for Sandisk, for example, and what sizes. So on the Sandisk, the highest size that is supported, I thought the light had stopped there, the highest size that is supported is 64 gigs. So if I wanted to get UHS Type 2 cards, I wouldn't be able to get the 128 gig cards for a Sandisk, okay? So I just take it from what I'm saying here. I'm reading this correctly, I think, but if anybody would like to go to this site, which is again in the description below, and look and tell me, am I reading this wrong or right? There might be like official Fuji guys out there who might be able to understand this a little bit better than I can. There might be guys who are like super technical, which I am not super technical. I used to work in tech support actually, funnily enough, but I'm not super technical anymore. I've lost all that. And yeah, it'd be great if somebody could like just clear this up once and for all. Are my cards supported or not? On the chart, it says they are, I think. And yeah, so, and the other thing is as well, just to reiterate, the only thing I am really shooting here, the majority of the time, are stills in single shot mode, just one shot, wait a couple of seconds, take another shot. I'm not doing a crazy amount of burst rate. The freezes that I am getting are well and truly intermittent. If they were constantly happening whenever I'm doing any kind of burst or any kind of quick succession of shots, I would go, yep, bingo, it's definitely a speed issue with these cards. But it's happening very intermittently. The other thing just on the back of that, because some people might go, oh, well, you obviously have faulty cards and they're just faulty, they're intermittent, they're not working. I have been using, take the 128 gig cards out of the equation. Last weekend, I put the 64 gig cards into my camera that I have been using for a couple of years. As soon as these 64 gig Extreme Pro cards came out, I bought them. I bought a couple, I bought 4, I think. And I've been using those for such a long time and they've never given me a single problem, not a single problem, with lots of burst mode use through the years. Lots and lots of shots taken on those cards, never a single problem. So for all of a sudden for them just to go faulty just like that overnight because I'm using the X-H1, it doesn't seem very likely, put it like that. So that's I guess that in a way hopefully covers up the memory card part of this conversation. And as for the battery issue, some people are saying what I could do is I could run, I was basically saying in the last video that if I put one battery in the camera and 2 batteries in the battery grip, then if I had this failure, I'd have to unscrew the battery grip, open up the battery door on the camera, eject and put the battery back in, and then put the battery grip back on the camera. So people are saying, well, what you could do is you could just run 2 batteries in the grip and no battery in the body. And that is correct. I could do that. But to me, I don't know, it kind of defeats the purpose, having a big grip that carries these 2 additional batteries just to have 1 extra battery, essentially. So I hear you on that, and it makes absolute sense. But for me, it's not really a proper solution. Hopefully, I'm probably going to go and get some UHS 2 memory cards. So if that solved the problem, then the grip will be going back onto the camera more than likely, or it might not. I've kind of gotten used to using the camera now without a battery grip, and it is actually really lovely. So there we go. I don't know. I hope that answers some of the questions that have been put into the last video. If anybody has any really good suggestions on what memory cards I should get, if I'm to buy UHS-II memory cards, I've heard that Sony's are very good. The Sandisks are great, but at the minute they don't seem to be, the 64 or higher don't seem to be available on Amazon, which is where I tend to buy most of my camera gear. So I don't know, there's probably other places I can buy memory cards in fairness. But if anybody has any other suggestions on either Lexar cards or anything else that's going out there, I can't even think of any other brands actually. There we go. So yeah, it'd be great if anybody had any further suggestions on that. And also, just speaking of suggestions, if you've any suggestions or ideas on what videos I could make revolving Fuji at weddings, yeah, lenses, what's in the bag. You got to do the what's in the bag. I have 4 bags. It's ridiculous. Bags, I could do a review on bags. I could do a review on bags that stay upright when you put stuff in them, don't fall over. I could do one of those. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions on bags, lenses, cameras, weddings, any of those things, please ask and I will tell everything. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. If you could like, and if you could subscribe, and yeah, I really do appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Goodbye.